Well, the Gonzaga Bulldogs are officially the West Coast Conference champs. Both the men's and the women's teams clinched the title ahead of March Madness and set themselves up pretty nicely ahead of Selection Sunday.
Go Zags.
I know, let's go Zags. Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here on Up with Krim. I'm Channing Curtis.
Glad to have you here with us on this Wednesday. I'm Tim Pham. Well, the green team, and when we say that, we're talking about Brenna and Travis, not a green team. Of course, because Gonzaga is blue and red. They're in Las Vegas right now covering the tournament for us, so let's send it over to them with a recap of Gonzaga's win.
Good morning from the Orleans in Las Vegas. A great day to be a Zag yesterday, especially if you were here. Both the Gonzaga men and women getting wins in their respective WCC tournaments.
Yeah, a clean sweep in the championship games, and the men winning 82-69. And Brenna, this is a bit of a streak going on here for Gonzaga.
Yeah, they have been so successful, especially since that 2017 season. There's only really been one season where they haven't been in contention for a top 2 seed, and that is really, really crazy. Mark Few knows that he needs to be grateful, especially since, he started at Gonzaga when this would have never even remotely have been a possibility. He reflected on that post-game.
It just doesn't magically happen. There's so much work that goes into it. Everybody's gunning for us. And I think this is, we did it in 17, we did it in 19. We did it in 20. We actually were in the NCAA tournament in 20 as a #1 seed. And then obviously in 21, now to do it in 22. I don't know how many programs in the history of college basketball have been able to do that.
So the West Coast Conference tournament coming to a close, but we're not done here in Vegas. The Pac-12 tournament beginning today.
Yeah, number 7 seeded WSU taking on number 10 seeded Cal. That game tips at 6 o'clock. I'll be there, so we'll be bringing you full coverage from that game. If WSU is able to win, they will take on UCLA on Thursday, but let's get through today.
Gotta get that win first.
Absolutely. Reporting in Las Vegas, he's Travis Green. I'm Brenna Green, Krim 2 Sports.
Now, it was a great night for senior guard Andrew Nebhard. Andrew scored 19 points in the game and took home the MVP award for the tournament.
And Julian Strother led the pack, scoring 13 points in the first half and ending the game with 16. He took a perfect 3 for 3 beyond the arc, and the cherry on top of really all of this is he's a Las Vegas native and got to do this all in front of his hometown crowd.
It's always really nice to be able to come out here and play in front of my friends and family and back in my hometown. So be able to come out here, win a tournament championship, and cut down the nets in front of all of them. That's an experience that I remember for life and I always cherish.
All right, now let's talk about the Gonzaga women because they flipped the script on BYU last night. Now we know BYU has dominated the team this season, but it was Gonzaga's turn to dominate with a 71-59 win. They were in control for most of the game and are now officially headed to the NCAA tournament. Zags forward Melody Kempton also took home the MVP award from the tournament.
Now having this win, knowing for sure we're in, and beating, what were they, a 14 seed before this?
Ranked.
14 ranked, yeah.
Something like
14
that, yeah.
ranked team. That looks really good for us, and to know we're in and we'll definitely get a higher seed than we would have if we lost just feels amazing.
All right, I know we all love talking sports, especially early in the morning, but meteorologist Thomas Patrick, you got to tell us a little bit about the weather because the sunrise was gorgeous, but it's cold.
Are you sure? Cold. I could go 90 seconds about the sports, and I love that the women's team got that upset. That set the tone for the day. Absolutely loved us also staying up late. Comparatively speaking for the men's team. Okay, weather-wise though, awesome to see the sunshine this morning. Doesn't feel so great when you factor in the temperatures and the wind out there. It's 23 degrees here in Spokane, wind chill of 10 thanks to a 16-mile-per-hour wind. That will certainly put a little bit of a nip into the air. But temperatures this morning, most everybody's still hanging into the low 20s. St. Mary's the cold spot at 17 degrees as of right now. But you factor in the winds on top of that, it feels like 10 in Spokane, 7 in Coeur d'Alene, 9 in Sandpoint, as well as Winthrop as of right now. Doppler radar showing the cold front that has cleared most of the Pacific Northwest. So that's the Arctic air that filtered in behind it. A little bit of a northeasterly breeze. We know that's where those cold cold winds come from. As for our bus stop forecast, make sure the kids are bundled up. Heading out to the stop this morning, sunshine all day long will only get us up into the mid-30s by this afternoon, but should be better in the coming days here. We'll show you how quickly our temperatures recover as we head into the weekend.
The United States and its allies are targeting Russia with new sanctions.
President Joe Biden issuing a ban on Russian energy imports, and that includes oil and natural gas. The U.S. is the first Western country to ban these imports. Meanwhile, the European Union and the United Kingdom announcing steps to wean themselves off from Russian fuel. The president's decision will deprive Russia of nearly $300 million in daily revenue. However, it does come at a steep price.
Putin's war is already hurting American families at the gas pump.
Average price for gas is now $4.25 a gallon. Congress did introduce legislation to suspend the 18-cent federal gas tax. Russia is the world's third largest oil producer behind the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Well, as these sanctions continue due to the war in Ukraine, President Biden says gas prices will likely climb even higher.
So this impacts everyone who drives for work, including nonprofits that work to get food to communities all over our region. So Food Bank Second Harvest uses 9 trucks, including 5 tractor trailers and 2 mobile market trucks to get food to people in need. The cost of filling up a large vehicle's tank can get expensive fast. The Community Partnerships Director says the fuel prices haven't had a big impact just yet, but that could change if prices don't drop soon.
When fuel prices go up, whether it's gas or diesel, that really affects us. The more money that we spend on fuel is less money that we have to go out and buy food.
Now, while Second Harvest does receive donations, that money normally goes towards buying certain foods that they don't get often. But even with the increasing cost of fueling their trucks, the organization says that they aren't slowing down.
We always figure out a way, and we focus really hard on those distant rural areas because those are some of the places that are the most in need. So if we got to pay a little bit more for fuel to get to Republic or to Patterson or somewhere else out in the rural areas, we're going to do it.
7:08 now, time for your morning rush. More news in less time.
Spokane police are investigating a homicide that happened in downtown Spokane on Monday night. Officers found a man shot and killed near West 2nd and Maple Street. Police believe there was an argument before that shooting. They haven't said who the suspect is or named the victim. However, community members do tell KREM 2 that the victim was a member of the unhoused community.
With improving COVID-19 numbers and trends, Idaho Governor Brad Little announced the state's public health disaster emergency will end on April 15th. Now, this emergency has been in place since March of 2020. The governor says the emergency declaration enabled FEMA to cover costs for the distribution of critical supplies like PPE and even additional medical staff. Idaho does still have a fund to respond to COVID-19 if their needs change. In the meantime, the CDC says COVID-19 is likely here to stay. The CDC director says the virus could join the flu and other respiratory illnesses that often spread during the cold winter months. Right now, the U.S. is averaging more than 49,000 cases a day. That's down more than 54% over the past 2 weeks. But even with that promising trend, CDC officials think that the virus will continue to circulate around the world for years to come.
Meanwhile, you could get your mail 6 days a week. Congress passed the Postal Service Reform Act to overhaul the U.S. Postal Service's finances. The overhaul would allow the agency to modernize its operations. It also expands operations to 6 days a week, except in the case of federal holidays and natural disasters. The bill is now headed to President Biden's desk, and that's a look at your morning rush. Headed down the yellow brick road and to the land of Oz and see Wicked here in Spokane. The musical will be the first of many Broadway shows in town this year. KREM 2's Malia Kamal is at the First Interstate Center for the Arts this morning with a preview of what's to come. And Malia, I know you said that you're super excited to see all of the costumes. Have you seen Wicked before?
I have not seen it, and I'm actually going to see it tomorrow night, and I am really excited. And I'm here today with Justin Koblick. He is the promoter of the show. Now, Justin, what are you excited to see about the show? I know you've probably seen this so many times, but what's your favorite part?
This show's such an iconic show, and it's one of the big monsters that is out there from Broadway. It comes to markets, and it's an absolute experience for anybody who sees it. There are a handful of shows that have reached this status. This is considered one of the greatest Broadway shows of all time.
Yes, and it's definitely has had a huge economic impact on the area. What are some of the things that you've noticed?
Well, this show will bring 40 to 60,000 people through its doors over 3 weeks. So for 3 weeks, the restaurants will be full in town, the bars, the hotels. It'll draw a lot of people in town, and it has then a lot of things for the people right here in Spokane to do.
Now, there is going to be a mask requirement. What about a vaccination card? What are some of the things that people need to be aware of when they come out to the show tomorrow night or tonight?
It's important. You can see the sign behind us. Masks will be required throughout the run of the show, and this show can't be here in Spokane, can't stay on the road without that requirement. It's something that is inconvenient, but it allows these shows to stay on the road. The vaccination requirements, however, we found that 95% of this crowd is already vaccinated. So proof of vaccination is not required because that crowd already is vaccinated, but masks will be required throughout.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, Wicked will be in town for the next couple of weeks, and so tickets are still available. Live in Spokane, Malia Kamal, KREM 2 News.
Sounds of hope as Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues, but U.S. officials predict the war will only get uglier.
Plus, the end of an era for the Seattle Seahawks as two major players are on their way out. What's ahead for Russell Wilson as he trades the Emerald City for the Mile High City? And speaking of that, in today's wake-up call, Hawks fans feeling a little bit blue this morning. Maybe some, I should say. How are you doing today with all of this? A lot of changes between Russ and Bobby Wagner. Text us your thoughts about the changes to the Seahawks team to 509-448-2000 or use the hashtag UpWithKrem on social media.
But first, let's take a live look outside at Coeur d'Alene on this wonderful Wednesday. We say good morning to you, Inland Northwest, and hey, hope you're having a great day. Huge shout out to our viewers in Post Falls and Ritzville. Let us know where you're watching from this morning. You can text us at 509-448-2000 or use the hashtag UpWithKrem on social media.